there. Welcome to Rise Above Noise. So each week in this series, I have the honor of shining a spotlight on somebody in the Rise Above Noise community who's making a real difference and who's helping others with their own business growth. Before we get started, if you and I haven't met yet, I'd love to introduce myself. My name is Susan Finn. I am a digital marketing strategist. The name of my business is Rise Above Noise. And for the past 15 years, I've been working with transformation creators, right? I've been working with energy healers, light workers, coaches, creatives, teachers to guide them to their own personal roadmap in a digital marketing journey that feels like flow to them. So together, we create your system to show up in a way that feels generous. And it feels that you're showing up in service so that you can show up consistently and with flow and ease for the people who are already searching for you. Your business will grow more consistently when you show up in generosity. So that said, today I want to encourage you to listen to our interview with Josh Zepess. He is the Identity Archaeologist. What is that? You'll find out. So you're going to really love hearing from Josh and how you can stand out in a sea of sameness. He's going to talk about differentiating yourself from the crowd. He's going to talk about speaking human, which is really the most powerful and attractive language in the world. And he's going to talk about being human. Let's destroy that line between business and personal. Sounds great, right? Here we go. Welcome to my Rise Above Noise weekly spotlight, where I get to shine the spotlight on people who come into my life who I just have to share as a lifelong connector. I feel like I have to just share the people that I meet in my life, and the Rise Above Noise weekly spotlight is a great way to do that. So each week around this time on Thursdays, it could change. If you're in the Rise Above Noise group or you're a follower of Rise Above Noise on any of our platforms, you will get to meet somebody that I just think is fascinating, who is going to give you some kind of a takeaway. Like, you will never leave one of our spotlights without having written down something on your pad, on something that you will take away with you and think like, oh my goodness, this was amazing. So with that, I wanted to share, and some of you have heard this a few times because we've been doing a series this week, but I am going to share my screen for just a second. And if you're listening to this on audio, no worries, I'll be talking to you about this and it'll be in the show notes. You can download the document. All right, so share screen, Susan. Do this and then go to play. And so when I talk about the people that I want to bring, that I do bring in this series, they'll all be kind of focused on one or more of the areas of the Rise Above Noise 5 pillars. And as we've talked about, the Rise Above Noise digital marketing system for transformation creators is how you take the step-by-step actions, follow a roadmap, like get in the car, put the headlights on, and know where you're going. And that way you get to show up with consistency and generosity and ease and flow in your marketing. And so what I've created here in listening to the people that I've worked with over the past 15 years is to take away that chaos, take away that feeling of, maybe you guys have this, when people say digital marketing or email marketing, that integral feeling that you get because you don't understand it all. And it seems like something you should know, but you don't know, and it seems chaotic. And I want to make it easy and flow. So it's as simple and it's calming and it's strategic so that you can attract and nurture and engage your ideal client. So the 5 pillars starts with knowing your message. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Know what your message is and know how to say it in a way that people understand your mission, or are you speaking to them? Like, what's the problem you're solving? Is that for them? And that they're going to remember it, right? In a room full of coaches, how do you stand out as different than the others? In a room full of insurance people or financial strategists, how do you stand out differently? How are you speaking to that one person in the room that is meant to be your client? So let's talk about that today. The other pillars in the Rise Above Noise process is to create compelling content. I do have a strategy for that. We went over that yesterday in our group, and I will put those in the show notes as well. Testimonials, proof of concept, case studies, that's so people understand, because you can put out all the data in the world, and I love sharing data. I am such a data geek. However, people respond more to the stories and what's the transformation that's created. And so they like your stories, of course, they're going to love your case studies, but they like hearing from other people that they can say, oh, she's just like me. He's just like me. If he had success, I probably can too. Organizing, scheduling, protect your time, protect your energy. I've said this a million times. Time and currency are our only true, time and energy are our only true currency. And so you've got to protect your energy and you've got to protect your time. So set up the systems that are going to give you that ease and flow, to know that you've done the right things, you're following the roadmap, and that you can go and be in your brilliance. Don't worry about the tasks, because you know they're going to get done on a schedule. Keeping in touch is the fifth pillar. That some people are really great at phone calling. I love that. It's not me. There are others that are really good about sending cards or gifts and things like that is another way to keep in touch. Of course, because I'm in digital marketing and I love all of the key performance indicators and the analytics, and I love all of this, I want to know that my clients can show up. And in particular, I'm going to talk about email marketing, show up with consistency. And when they do that, when they share, when they're generous in their emails, let's say, how does that affect the numbers? How does that affect the key performance indicators? Who's reading it? What are they reading? If they're reading this and not that, create more of what they're loving. All of these 5 pillars in the Rise Above Noise process are so that you can show up and be of service within your core values, within your messaging, so that you can attract clients who align. So I'm going to stop sharing here. I will put this document in the show notes in case you haven't seen it yet or would like to see it again. Go back to stop share, and here we are. So I love talking about that. I can talk about it in my sleep, but it's interesting because knowing that the people that I aim to serve, they're aggressively humble, and they get that they don't want to feel like they're pushing. And so when we talk about attracting, when we talk about showing up in generosity, then it's a whole mindset shift. Now marketing doesn't feel like, oh, I got to write an email today. No, it's like, okay, what am I writing about today? Right. It's not today. You've written it weeks ago because it was on your schedule. You're protecting your time, protecting your energy. Okay, so that's it. My friend Josh has been very patient in everything this morning, and I can't wait to tell you guys all about him. So hang on a second. I'm going to pull this up. Josh and I met, just so you know, Josh and I met in a very interesting group with Tyson Sharp and Camille Miller run, I'm going to give them a shout out, run a first Wednesday of the month in the evening, an open, I don't know, networking, connecting, would you call it, Josh? Situation where heart-centered, soul-centered businesses get together, and with intention, we go into breakout rooms and talk about whatever the intention, they pull a card and what the intention is. I have met the most interesting people in that group. We've had lots of conversations, and you know what I love about that, similar to the Rise Above Noise Facebook group, is that we're having different conversations. Even though I'll talk to you about analytics, even though I'll talk to you about key performance indicators, I'm going to also say, yes, that's so that you can show up and make a difference in the world. All right, so my friend Josh Zepess is making a friend in the world, making a difference.
Hopefully, and a friend.
And a friend, he'll make a friend. We made friends. You guys will be his friend. He calls himself the Identity Archaeologist. I'm gonna pull this over here so I don't have to look over there. And listen to this, you guys. I love this. In a world where dreams are crushed, souls are forgotten, and rust never sleeps. Josh, I had to look that up.
It's true, isn't it? It's a truism. Rust actually never sleeps. It never stops.
Well, that I didn't know about, but so I searched. Is that a thing people say? But it's Neil Young and Crazy Horse song is what I found out. All right, so we can talk about that too. So anyway, rust never sleeps. Josh Zepess, the Identity Archaeologist, is on a mission to ensure talented solopreneurs turn your business first impression into a second impression, which is where the sale happens. He calls this raising your ROC, right? Like I'm going to talk about your ROI, your return on your investment. He's talking about your ROC, return on conversation, so you can profit without the grind. So I totally love this. You should know that when he's not digging for business gold, he flies airplanes, brews beer, runs long distance obstacle course races, and sets the bar low as a semi-professional comedian. And then he has in parentheses, not the funny kind.
That's true. I'm not the funny kind.
You're funny. We always laugh. We laugh. I asked Josh what his superpower is, and he said it's converting a vomit of information and distilling it down to a clear, powerful, compelling message. And I think that's probably a really good place to start our conversation. That's your superpower. Tell me more about converting this stream of information.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, it's an honor to be able to share time with everyone. So I'm very, very excited for this. Yeah, vomit of information. So look, we're all busy, aren't we? Everyone's got crap going on in their minds, in their brains. They kind of have an idea of what they do and where they want to be in life and all this kind of stuff, but it's all frazzled up there. It's all moving around very quickly. And when someone says, hey, what do you do? Or they just ask a very simple business question, we don't know how to articulate it. We can't get all that noise into a very clear, compelling, persuasive, effective message. And that's one of my superpowers is vomit your information on me. Tell me everything you actually want to say that you're actually afraid to say to other people. And let's put it into a message that gets people leaning forward, interested in what you're saying, and wanting to be in your circle, because that's the first sale you have to make. This is the stuff they don't teach in business school, that people buy you first, your product and service second. Mm-hmm. But if they don't buy you, if you cannot make that connection with someone up front, it doesn't matter what you're selling. They're never going, no matter how much they need it, no matter how great it is, they're not going to take a look at your product or service. So it's, how do you distill this? How do you create, and this is a brand. How do you create this brand that gets people magnetically attracted to you and to your services?
So there's so much is going through in my head right now. There's so much, but I think
you want me to simplify it for you? No, I'm just kidding. That's just
so no, because I didn't know which way to go with my question, but I'm going to bring the question back to you. So this is your superpower. This is what you do. Yeah. How do you do that? Like there's so much out there, right? How do you do that?
Yeah, well, and this goes back to why I'm called the Identity Archaeologist. People always ask that question, like, Josh, what does that mean? Well, honestly, at the surface, it means I have no competition, which is kind of a fun place to be in business, but that's a separate story. But really, it's my process. It's how I dig deep into someone with questions. I go past all that crap conditioning we're told growing up about, oh, honey, there's no money in that, or you can't do it, or just follow the rules, and that's the path to success. That's the crap I was told and I believed. We dig through all that crap conditioning and we find the treasure. We find someone's treasure, their value, their purpose, their stand, their mission, their cause, all that good stuff, and we bring it to the surface. And when we bring it to the surface, we get rid of all that crap that's been covering it for years. and we polish it and we refine it until it shines so bright, people have to come from thousands of miles to see it. It's that attraction process. So it's basically how I dig with questions, how I find that, and help people articulate it to the world.
Awesome. Well, now that, but again, that's a talent, that's a skill. I know
Yeah.
you've done so much in your life, in your professional life and in your non-professional life. What were you before you were the identity archaeologist? How did your journey bring you to this place?
Well, pretty much I lived a shy my entire life is the best way to put it. You know, some people live a lie. I lived a shy. I was just that good soldier. I grew up as a soldier. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I did everything I was told to do, went to school, got grades. I don't know about good grades, but I got grades and multiple degrees, got the safe, secure job as an engineer for 20 years. I sat in a cubicle designing semiconductors and being a manager and all that good stuff and doing all the stuff I was supposed to do. And then one day I figured everything I thought was right wasn't so right. I wasn't as happy as I wanted to be. I wasn't as wealthy as I needed to be. And I wasn't free, Susan. That's the biggest part. My favorite F word today is freedom, just having that choice. And I didn't have, my favorite F word back then was a different one, by the way. Everyone can figure out what that is. But I had to get out, and I got into the financial industry after I escaped. I was in the gym industry at the time doing competitive bodybuilding, and I'm doing all this stuff as an entrepreneur. And I was like, all right, I'm making money, but there's still something missing. And I said, time out, Josh. What is your genius? What is that thing you do better than everyone else you know? What is all this expertise you've built up over all these years of blood, sweat, and tears? And where do you want to play? Where do you want to, in your heart, make a difference in the world? And I took all this stuff and I compressed it like a diamond, and it crystallized into what I do today. So this has been a long process. This is not an overnight thing. I don't want to make it sound like it was easy or it was obvious. This took a lot of craziness, a lot of failure. And I just kept pushing and kept crystallizing until I found out this is what I'm designed for. This is where I want to play.
It's amazing. This is why I do the work I do, because everybody has a journey that they go on, and what's good for you now, it works for you now, you're evolving, it'll change. And it's very interesting, really, how all of us, I know Feather's on the call, and she was in the tech industry for a long time, right? And you just all of a sudden realize I've got more, but then being an entrepreneur is a challenge. And then one of the things that stuck to me all the time was all the coaches I've worked with were like, well, first you have to know your mission. And I'm like, well, I'm not sure what my mission is. I know I love digital marketing. I know that I love the dopamine hits I get by figuring things out and by pressing the buttons and making the magic of automations happen and helping people figure out strategies that give them that ease. Did I have a mission? Well, then I found my mission was to help transformation creators go out and transform the world. So, but that took me a while. That was a sticking point when I would work with my coaches and they would say, what is your mission? I didn't know. But then I knew who I wanted to work with, and that helped me figure out what my mission is. Can you give me an example? And I know you work with different types of professionals. Can you give an example of somebody's message you helped kind of refine for them?
Yeah. This one recently I work with, he does executive, he helps technical leaders become managers. I think is the simplest way to kind of put what he actually does. But it turns out after we dug a little deeper, his biggest thing that he really focuses on, his tagline now is no more bad bosses. He says, nobody wants to be a bad boss, but why do we have bad bosses then? Why are people not unable to take their, from a technical standpoint, why can't they become good managers? And we built an entire brand, a personal brand around this, where he's out there shouting like, no more bad bosses. That's his message now. And it's so beautiful because it resonates with people. People are like, yes, you're right. I don't want to be a bad boss. So why am I? And he's got this inroad now into some people's hearts, because again, no one wants to be a bad boss. So he's able to help them not be that bad boss, to help them shine, to help them advance their career in technical fields. So people that, especially in our very high tech areas, that we tend to get very informational. We
Yes,
tend to
I
be
know.
very professional and
Yeah,
very kind of a little bit of the ego. And here's my titles, and here's all the stuff I do. Isn't this cool? That is the wrong approach if you want to actually get people to make a decision and work with you.
yeah,
You've got to be able to talk to someone's heart first. The heart is what leads to the mind. It's a one-way street. You don't talk to the mind and expect to get to the heart. It doesn't work that way. It's not human psychology.
I just wrote that down with 3 stars. I like that one. The heart leads to the mind. You can't get to the
Yeah.
mind without the heart. That's awesome. That's awesome. What other, do you have any other breakthroughs that you might be able to share with us when you were able to, like, that's amazing that he brought it down to 4 words.
Yeah.
I have a tendency to be
That's
too
it.
wordy, right?
We
That's,
all do.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think what happens is the reason why we have a trouble articulating and have trouble really shining, why a lot of us are shy, is because we're afraid to take a stand.
Mm,
We're afraid that I hear people say, Josh, but if I say what I really want to say, what are people going to think about me? They're like, wait a minute, you're in business. You should hope people ever think about you again, because the number one killer of business is obscurity. The number 2 killer is being forgotten. So don't worry about what they think about you. But you've got to take a stand. Stand for something or stand against something.
yeah.
If you can just start there, just what's that injustice in the world you want to eradicate? What do you want to stand against, or what do you stand for? That will help guide you into start getting clarity, which is what you have to do. Get clarity around why you exist. That's one of the keys. So many people are afraid to take that stand, but you've got to. You've got to stand up for something. Otherwise, people want to follow people that are going somewhere. If you can't explain where you're going, if you can't talk at the higher level, people get so caught up in product level talk. If you go to any networking group, if you listen to any presentation, it's all about, here's my product, here's my service. It's better than this person's over here, better than that guy's product. And it's all this product talk, low level, low energy. What if instead of talking about product, you brought it up to the mission level? What if you never talked about your product? What if you just talked about, this is the mission I'm on, here's where I'm going, here's what it looks like, here's what that finish line looks like when I get there. And you want to hop on the train with me, or you want to stay at the station? Either way, perfectly fine. But I just want to let you know, nothing's going to stop me. That kind of level of conversation is damn attractive. And that brings people in. Then it doesn't matter what you're selling, by the way. The sale's done. Oh, are you selling used cars? Oh, are you selling cable subscriptions? Oh, are you selling coaching services? It doesn't matter. I love where you're going. I'm in. You've got me. Now let's do business.
I love that. I'm thinking then about the influencers, right? The influencers that I follow. And, yep, just bought another program last week from Stu McLaren. I probably follow him anywhere. Amy Porterfield,
Yep.
Donald Miller. I will follow them anywhere because they have that higher mission. They are constantly providing value.
Yes.
And over giving, over giving, which has been they've all been wonderful experiences for me.
And when you're on that mission, there's no more selling. Like you said, all you're doing is sharing, constantly sharing value, and the sales takes care of themselves.
Yeah.
But this is a scary place for people. They're afraid to really raise that level. They're just unsure of themselves. They're unsure of what they stand for. They don't have clarity. They don't really truly know why they get out of bed in the morning. Like, we have to wake up. That's biological. You got to wake up. But I want to know, why do you put 2 feet on the ground and go do it? And please tell me it's something more than money. Please tell me the only reason, there's got to be some bigger purpose that you get out of bed in the morning than just to make money.
Well,
And
I'd have to say,
out.
in the people, let's say the Rise Above Noise community,
Yeah.
and the people that I work with and attract, I don't think that money, yes, we need to pay our bills, and money is an exchange of energy. And in that, they're very clear on, I need to make money so I can exchange that energy. But here's the conversation I have often with my clients when we're trying to figure out their messaging in their emails, in their welcome email, in their their landing page, right? They have to be short and clear. Nobody has a long attention span, and everybody is searching for somebody to solve their problem. So very often, let's say this, some of my energy healers will say something like, I help heal your childhood trauma. And so that's true. They do. And that is their mission, is to help people become fully where they are and healthy humans now. But often the conversation I have is, I'm not sure anybody is necessarily thinking, I have childhood trauma I
Nope,
have to
exactly.
heal, right? They're thinking, I can't sleep, I sleep too much. I can't eat, I eat too much. I fight with my family, I don't speak up for myself. Any of those day-to-day nagging little things. And I also know that it takes them a long time. It takes people with those, there's a lot of, I guess, obstacles for people to finally take that step, even to just sign up for a freebie, right? Like that's that little step closer as we're
Right.
bringing people on a journey of getting to know each other, is to give them something to help give them a quick win. And then maybe they get on a free call with you, or they consume one of your videos so that they learn more about you, because they've got a lot of stories in their head. I should be able to figure this out on my own. It's
Mhm.
just me. I have bad willpower. I just don't get along. It's them. It's not me, right? All those things. So in that, I find that sometimes it's hard for the energy healers, light workers, coaches, teachers that I work with to get to that point where it's not what they're doing, but the problem that they're solving.
Yeah, and you're getting to something really important here called brand message, because those are two separate things and people get those confused. So the energy healers brand could be that they help people get past their childhood traumas, right? They recognize the trauma, they get past it, but the message has to translate that brand into a language that their ideal client understands. So there's two parts to that. One, you got to know who you're talking to. I'm talking specifically, why is your ideal client waking up 3 o'clock in the morning in a cold sweat? What is this tack that they're sitting on that's so uncomfortable, that's bothering them 24/7? And then you got to talk their language. If it's sleep, lack of sleep, if it's that they get angry very quickly, that they don't have control over their life or their career, you've got to speak that language to get them into the circle, right? Like you're saying. But it's getting clarity on who you're talking to. I always recommend people write a diary page of your ideal client. Like, I want to know what they're thinking to themselves, and these are called external problems. What is that external problem that they're thinking to themselves? Because they don't really know their internal problem. They don't know that it's trauma.
Right.
They know something happened, but maybe they don't know that it's trauma. They just know they can't sleep. They just know that every time their kid uses sarcasm, like I did growing up, that's my original language. My native language is sarcasm. So they don't know that every time that their kid uses sarcasm, they flip off the handle. They don't know why. Why
Yeah.
do I get mad at my kid for being sarcastic? That's just the way, it's fun. So they have these challenges and they don't know why it's happening. And when someone comes along and says, hey, do you want to know why you flip off the handle every time your kid says something a little smart? Watch this video. I'm going to tell you exactly why that happens. And see, you're not talking about trauma, because trauma is the internal challenge. It's the internal struggle. You need to talk about the external struggles of people, how it manifests in their life, and then that will bring them in. So that's the kind of stuff that you've got to develop and help people with that hook, right? That kind of catches their attention on that kind of thing.
I love this. We could talk all day of this, but I want to be mindful of the time. So this is the work you do. And you gave me some links to share because, of course, we want people to follow up. So I'll put these in the link. So tell me, so we have a webinar, a free webinar they can watch, right? Is that a free webinar?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
It's called the Lighthouse Effect.
Yeah,
Yep.
tell me about that.
Yeah, it's very simple. It's how to I love your rise above the noise because it's so wonderful. We're so much in alignment, but I say shine above the noise of a crowded industry. So how do you differentiate yourself in a crowded industry? In the sea of sameness, I call it. How do you become that lighthouse when all your prospects are out there drowning in the sea of sameness? How do you find them? How do they find you? So I go over some really cool steps on how to do that. And then I think I have one other offering with is a 30-minute master session, correct?
Yes, free one-on-one master session to create the unique, compelling answer to the question, what do you do?
Yeah, the number one business question we're going to get asked. And I see so many people do it, struggle with that, and they give a title or a borrowed label or something like that. If you want to create a real, truly powerful answer, we'll do that one-on-one, your unique answer. We'll actually take about 15 to 20 minutes and we'll break through that. And I'm happy to answer any questions about branding or messaging on top of that. But that's a fun experience. I get to learn more about you as a person, what you're actually bringing to the world. And then you get to watch me work real time. And then you get this business asset you can just take and run with. And it's so much fun. It's like a public service. I love doing that one.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to mine. I'll be scheduling that right away.
Okay.
Josh, thank you so much for spending this morning with me. If there's any questions, let me just look on Facebook real quickly. Feather is asking, what is the most dramatic archaeological discovery with a client? I like the one that you talked about earlier. Is there another one?
Yeah, that one was good. Yeah, okay. Here's the most dramatic one, honestly, to date would be someone who, just a few months before I met her, she came out as having a mental health issue, a mental challenge, and she started to own it. And we're able to take her mental illness and turn that into a superpower. And it's changing the way she's seeing the world. It's changing everything about how she approaches business. And she's a beast in business anyways. But now that she's owned this and it's becoming her brand, it's starting to change everything. And it's that to me is really cool, because we all know about the mental health challenges and the crisis going on in our country that we've developed ourselves. We've kind of created our own poison, and we're struggling with it. But for someone to take it and own it, and to just like make it, and she's standing for other people, she's helping other people do the same. Like that's so far has probably been one of my favorites, to be honest.
That is so good. I mean, because when you can show up fully as yourself,
yes,
and there's nothing behind the curtain, it's all right.
And you're not
up
ashamed.
in front of the curtain, and you're not ashamed because, right? Then I guess then you just, right? We're talking about flow and ease today, and shining your light. I think that that's a really important thing for people to kind of hold on to. Not easy.
No.
It's simple, but not easy, right?
Yeah, being human. This is all about being human. It's so simple,
gosh, so
and
good.
so profitable.
On that, I'm going to end this recording, and thank you so much, Josh. I am so very, very grateful for you. Well, there you have it. That's Josh Zepess. And honestly, I think I could have talked with him forever. I really enjoy our conversations. I love how he brings humanity into business, and that you get to authentically be yourself. If we haven't already, please do schedule a free discovery call with me. Let's talk about where you are in your business growth journey, how you can show up with consistency and generosity for the people that you are meant to serve. Schedule your discovery call with me, join the Rise Above Noise Facebook group. And if you're ready for a deeper dive, why don't we talk about the Rise Together Inner Circle with weekly accountability and learning steps together. All right, till next time.